long have you been on your spiritual path? Have things gotten better? Or have you just gained so much knowledge to the point where you know too much for your own good? Has this knowledge sunk you into deep depression, pushing you away from friends and family, pushing you into a dark period of isolation? Have you found that state of emptiness and now you have no clue how to fulfill it? Have you become an angry seeker? Are you constantly comparing your experience to other teachers' experiences and wondering what this bliss and unconditional love feeling they're talking about is with yourself? Spirituality has you feeling unfulfilled and more disconnected than ever before. I have been there and recognized that some people in what we call the spiritual community are honestly miserable ever since they began going down this path. So it made me sit back for a second to see why certain seekers fall into that hole along the path, constantly seeking for a way out, constantly seeking for the love that so many teachers speak about that's within us, constantly in fight or flight, still finding it difficult to get through the illusions of fear, separation, and false identifications. I've realized the reason so many people fall into that dark place and get stuck in spirituality is because the spiritual community is so big on the self-realization, self-love. It's all about the self, and that can make you feel very lonely if you perceive what's being taught the wrong way. It makes you feel like you have to control everything. It makes you feel like you have to handle everything alone. This is a misguided misconception, my friends. Know this. The self is said to be everything. The self is said to be God or whatever you want to call it. It's what everyone on this path is seeking for ultimately, and the spiritual community is trying to help people realize that the self is what you are, and it's true. The self is all those things, but it's not you because there is no you, and it's not a new identity to grasp onto. The self is not anything personal. This path to freedom is not about finding a new identity. So many of us are trying to let go of the ego self to become the bigger self. And that's the issue because you have no identity. You're on a path to self-realization, trying to find what you truly are. But the reason you can't find it is because what you truly are isn't something personal. It's not yours. It's not you. It's simply all there is. It's not you. It's all there is. And if you're trying to find it so you can have something you can claim to be you, you'll never realize what's being pointed to because you're believing what you truly are to be something personal. When you realize what you are, you'll realize that it isn't personal. It isn't you. It's simply all there is because you don't exist. But there is something here. There is something that is everything. There is something that is free from this world. There is something that is pure unconditional love. There is something that is completely free from suffering, and you have to completely surrender to it. There is something to give your life away to give your desires, fears, worries, knowledge to give your whole life away to. And that is the self that every teacher talks brutally, as you can call it, God or the universe or consciousness, whatever label you choose. You can surrender to it, and as you do so, you begin to disappear. As you begin to give your life to it, you begin to realize you don't actually exist. And this personal you starts to disappear as it merges into the infinite. You begin to allow that which is everything to flow through the vessel. You then become a vessel for the universe, for God, and all identities begin to disappear. Then all that's left is God. And this is why we say, I am God or the universe, because when you give your life to it, then God is all that's left because that's all that's truly here. Once you realize that God is everything, how would it be possible for you to exist separate from it? Since God is everything, where is this point that you think you are? It's not you and God. There is only God. So you have to surrender everything to it. Surrender who you think you are to it. Surrender your personal life to it completely, disappear into it. So what's left is God. This is how you begin to experience that unconditional love. This is how you'll feel fulfilled and free. You surrender. The spiritual community is big on becoming emptiness, and yes, I do recommend discovering that state of emptiness, but don't just stay there. There's no aliveness to that. Fill it up, go back and drink from the source from that state. Connect to the source. Surrender back into all there is. Surrender all identities. Surrender the belief that what you truly are is something personal, so that eventually you completely disappear, and now you've allowed God or universe to be in the flesh. You'll no longer be a person. It genuinely will not feel as if there is a person here anymore. You'll realize all that's here is that source. That emptiness that teachers speak about is experienced through surrendering. When you surrender to that which is everything, you get out of the way, and everything takes your place. This is exactly what Jesus did. His whole story is about surrendering and living for the infinite. He surrendered so much that Jesus was no longer Jesus in his direct experience. There was no longer a Jesus here. God was fully being lived through that vessel that we call Jesus, and the same can happen through you. You simply have to give your life away to the universe, God, source, or infinite. We are all so used to hearing about being consciousness or being God, being that which is everything, which is true. But it's not you that's everything because there is no you. It's consciousness that's everything. It's God that is everything. And because God is everything, where could a separate self stand apart from God? The separate self is simply a story of the mind. It's a label just like how you label a phone. The label phone is not the phone itself. The same way, whatever your name is not you. It's a label, it's a sound, a word, a thought. It's not you because once again, there is no you. There's only God, there is no you, but you have to surrender this you to God. Give it away, and as you surrender your life to it, you begin to see what God sees: oneness, love, freedom, heaven, eternal life, deep wisdom, miracles, bliss, joy, peace, presence, the truth of reality. Separation will be clearly seen as an illusion because God, the universe, is everything. Nothing is separate from it. It is one with everything. Not you because there is no you. It is free from the world. Not you because you don't exist. It is what I'm talking to right now. I can't be talking to you because you don't exist. It's what's here right now. You aren't here. God is consciousness. Our problem is that we trap ourselves by making consciousness or God our new identity. We make it something personal. We believe it's ours when, in reality, it's way bigger than a you. It's the cosmic ocean, and the you that you believe to be is simply a wave of expression on this ocean. The you is like a wave. It can appear to be its own thing, but a wave is still the ocean, and that's its true nature. These egos can appear to be their own things, but all that's truly here is God. It's God appearing to be something it's not. That's the whole game. God can only experience itself if it creates the illusion of separation, and it uses the dualistic mind to do so. The mind creates things, thing one, thing two, thing three, but the mind knows nothing about reality. The mind literally creates what we call the world. There's no world out there at all. Look around your environment without labeling anything. What is it? It's the mind that creates separation. It creates labels for the things know around this you and relax within it. You think you are the ego as a thing. Things don't truly exist. They are mind-made. They are ideas, concepts, thoughts. They are like the waves. So please, if you have been struggling with this spiritual route, if you have been feeling unfulfilled and you still feel separated, this is the way to go, completely surrendering everything. If this goes against everything you've ever learned from me or any other teacher, so be it, but surrender your need to know something. Surrender seeking, surrender all knowledge. You don't need it. Knowledge is not the answer. There is nothing new under the sun, my friends. Trying to figure something out with the mind will not help you. It will never help you see what's being pointed to. Allow today to be a fresh start. And the best news is that you don't need to do any of this on your own. If you've been stuck in that sense of I'm the only one here, I have to do everything on my own, let go of that story. You can surrender everything to the universe right now. It's waiting for you. Go back home, this is, where the aliveness will begin to flow through you with unconditional love, fearlessness, etc. Give everything away. The body isn't yours. Thoughts are not yours. Nothing is yours because there is no one separate from God to claim it. So give it all back to the source. You don't need to seek anymore. Just surrender the past, the future, the mind, all understanding, all desires, all labels and ideas. Surrender the story of who you think you are. Live